Hey everyone, this is Chris Dunkel. In this episode, what we're going to look at is editing some of the features within a specific clip. So, for instance, what I've done here is I've drug down a 3D animation that I had to do in college. And what we're going to do, anytime you drag it down, it could be an image or a video. So, in this case, animation. I'm going to double click on it. And when you double click on it, it's going to take you into the editor. Now, I'm going to show you another way you can actually do it. If you don't want to double click, just by clicking on the image or the video, you'll get some options up here, and it's the pencil icon that's on the left. It says Open Clip Editor, but you can also do the same thing by double clicking. When you do, you're going to have a series of tabs at the top. The far left tab is Transform. You'll notice that you can rotate your image. You can flip it back and forth or upside down if you want. You can make it fit the screen. Scale is one that does come in handy, as I mentioned before in another video, if you were wanting to, scale it down and have it be like over someone's shoulder, like a newscast. One thing to bear in mind too, whenever you do scale it, you can come over here and move it around. On occasion, there may be a potential you want to scale it larger than it is, and you can move it around there too. Just be careful when you start scaling larger, because then it'll start to pixelate. Anytime that you do any of these things, so if you don't like it, you can undo it, or you can just hit the delete trash can up here and it will take it back to the default settings. So that's under the Transform tab. The next tab is going to be audio level. So obviously you're working with a picture, you're not going to have this, but if it's a video that has an audio track to it, which most do, you can control the audio level. So if you've recorded something, it's a little too quiet, you can go in here and bump up the audio. That typically will help. You can also have it fade in. And as you drag it, you'll notice there's a time over here. So basically what I'm telling it is I want it to take 1 second to fade into full audio. And I could do the same here. And now I'm saying I want it to be 3 seconds to fade into full audio. But there's another way you can do that as well. I won't go ahead and move those back. This third tab is an animation tab. And what that will do is you can select a starting point and an ending point. So for instance, if I hit play, we're going to see our video. It's going to start. And this is obviously one about bullying. But let's say I want to animate this video. I don't want it to just be static on the screen. So what I can do instead is I can, at the starting point, let's say I want to scale it down. And then at the ending point, I'm going to leave it right at 100. So if I go back to start, and I'm going to come over here and hit play, you'll notice that it's going to start small. And basically what I'm having it do is I'm having it zoom in. So it's starting small, and as it plays, it's going to wind up at this final ending position. It's going to be at full screen. Okay. Now I'm going to get rid of all that. But there's some other things you could do here. You could have it move across the screen. So for instance, for start, let's say I don't want to scale it down. I just want to come over here and grab it, and I'm going to drag it to the left. And let's see, I might be able to get a little farther. And then at the end, I want it to be over to the right. So now when I go back to start and I hit play to preview it, what you'll notice is when the video starts here, and you're not seeing it at the moment because I start with a black screen and there's text, but now you can see my video is coming in and it's moving across to the right. Now, one thing to bear in mind whenever you're doing start and stop in WeVideo, it's going to do it for the entire length of the clip. So there may be a situation where you don't want the whole video to go that far. You just want a little section to do something kind of interesting. One quick way to do that is to use our cutter tool, our clipper that we talked about before. And where we talked about you click on your scissors to clip it. What you would do is you would clip it at the beginning of where you want the effect to start, then move it to the end of where you want the effect to end. So let me click on this clip. And so now what I was able to do is isolate this one section. So now I could come in this one section, say, let's start it here and let's end it there. And so now when I hit start, notice how much faster it goes because it's doing over a shorter period of time. So let's go back to normal there. Let's combine those back. Now I'm going to go back in here. So again, with this animation tool, it's kind of fun to, you could make text or something move across the screen or zoom in or zoom out. That's how you do it. This next option here, let's get to a part in our screen. There we go with our bully here. This is on color correction. And on occasion, I will come in here and use a couple of these, but just be a little careful with it. On brightness, if you drag it to the right, it's going to make it a lot brighter. If you drag it to the left, it's going to make it dark. It's a little ominous, but see, that may look good, actually, for what you're doing. So you might play with that a little bit. Contrast is also one. If you take it to the right, it's going to increase the contrast. Sometimes that looks good. If you take it to the left, it really reduces the contrast, which typically doesn't look good. Oftentimes, if I have a picture or sometimes video, I will come in and bump the contrast just a little to the right sometimes to give it a little more crispness. Saturation is going to increase the color value. So if I drag it to the right, notice how the colors get even more saturated. And you want to be careful because you go too far. Like if you look at the ball that I created here, a bully, you've got a nice smooth plastic kind of surface to it with a reflection. But if I oversaturate this and bring it to the right, it really takes that away. Not to mention everything starts to look a little cartoonish. However, you can also desaturate though. So if you take it to the left, then as you imagine, the colors are going to disappear. So this is a way if you want to really give it a muted tone, or you can take it all the way to the left and it's purely grayscale. So either way you want to do it there is cool. The last one is hue. I usually don't mess with hue much. Hue's going to change the colors. So if you notice, I have a red ball representing the bully for the rage that the bully has, the green victim, so to speak. So if I grab the saturation, I start moving it, then it just starts changing the colors. So now the red ball's now green, and that really doesn't fit with the symbolism. It's very rare that I mess with saturation much, but it's there in case you ever want to do it. The next tab that you have up here is the green screen tab for color keying. And I'm going to do a different video on that just to show you. It's very simple to color key in WeVideo. And we, at least at our school, we have the green screen studio where you can go film with a green background. And several of our students have done that already. And the very last one that you have here is speed. And this will only show up when you have video clips or possibly audio clips, but you can't control the speed on an image because the image is just static. But as I showed you before, you can extend the image to last longer. But what the speed allows you to do is either speed it up or slow it down. And you can grab, the value meters and drag it here and make it go a lot faster. You can make it go slower. Just be careful with this. This video is probably not the best one to show in reference to speed. But if I had something with dialogue, especially, you want to be careful with it because you go too fast, you go too slow, it really messes up the dialogue. But again, something that you can play with. So all of these above, as I mentioned, these are all just part of the clip editor. So any clip that you bring down, for instance, I'll bring down this drama poster here. I can just double click on it. You'll notice I'm missing a few of the things like the sound audio stuff because it doesn't have that. But any item that you bring down, you can get into that and edit some of the features of it. So that's it for this video. In the next one, we'll get into some more features that WeVideo has. And as always, if you have any questions, just let me know.